Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Metzia Daf Chofalef. We're getting to the Perik, we all learned in Yeshiva in school. This is one of the prakim that every young Yeshiva boy learns. So we're going to be very familiar with the terms. Obviously, we'll touch upon some of the big issues or discussions that we have here in the Rishonim and the Achronim. This should be, we're all going to be swimming in this with ease. So the Mishnah. These are the Metzias that are his, if you find it. Here Metzias that you have to go and announce in public. The discussion, very interesting discussion. Where is the source that you have to be machris? You have to announce. The Torah tells you they have to give it back. What do you have to announce? A discussion in the Rishonim is that in the Raisa to announce it, that's part of Droish Zachicha, or the announcing is only really in their abundance, just a way to get to the idea of giving it back. Elu Metzia Shulah, 5 Metzia Shulah. Matzah, Peirois, Mifuzarim. As Rashi is saying before we go in, Rashi is going to tell us that the rule of the Mishnah is that anything that you have a yush, anything that a Bailam give up hope, so then you don't have to give back. If they do not give up hope, you don't have to give it back, right? So the Mishnah is like this. Matzah appears Mifuzarim, he finds scattered fruits. Mois Mifuzaros, he finds scattered coins. Krichois Mishusarabim, or he finds bundles of wheat in Mishusarabim. Vigule Dvelo, or he finds circles of dates that are stick together. Kikoro Shanachtoim, he finds bread of a baker. All the breads of the baker look alike. You can't differentiate with them. Mashayka because Shababais, that is different. Or you find fish that are connected together in a ring, the way that normally they do it in the market. Or a piece of meat, the way that normally people come in the market. Bundles of wool, the way they're taking out from the body of the sheep. Pishton, which is flax. Yeah, the flax, or the shayna shagomon, and you have the wool which is colored in a certain way and it has the shape of a tongue. All these cases are regular shaloi divrei meir. Why is it shaloi? It's standard. Every one of them look the same, or the corns are the same, or you find the bread are the same shape. So the owner gives up hope. His misyash. Whenever you have a shinui, whenever there is a change, whenever there's something different than them, you have to do achros. What's the difference? Ketzah matzo igul yaz in the circle of dates. Uvetoichoi, figs. Uvetoiches inside there's clay. Kiko, you have bread. Uvetoichamos, you have money in it. Then you have to give it back. So we'll see in the Gemara is an machlokes or not. Shimon lozo imer kol clay and foryo in chayav laachis clay and foryo after machis. We're going to see in the Gemara what does clay and foryo mean. Now the rule of the Mishnah is what? Is a din of yush. Yush. What is yush? You give up hope. Give up hope, you lose the item. I want to tell you two nikudas before we go on. Nikuda number one is a big yisraelistic nikuda that brought down the Achronim based on Tosis and Bava Kama, and I believe it's after Zayin, if I'm not mistaken. There is a question: is yush and hefker the same? When a person gives up hope, or a person does hefker, is it the same thing? So Big Yisrael, the way the Yeshiva says it, the Yisrael agrees with him on that point, and many of the Achronim say it, is that yush is not the same thing as hefker. There's a difference between yush and hefker. Hefker is something which you one takes out from his rishos. The same way a person can sell his item, the same way a person can gift his item, a person also can remove something from his rishos by making it hefker. Yush, you didn't take out from your rishos. Yush, the owner just gave up hope. But he didn't take out from rishos. His misalik daita imenu. Mele, now it depends where it is. If the item is in the house of the owner, it still belongs to him. If it's in Rishus Rabim and he removed his Rishus, so he mele now became Efker. but the yush on its own is not hefker. That explains many different items that we have. When, for example, we're going to see when we get to Amud Beis, that you don't say yush every time. If a person does hefker, there's no limitations. Hefker will always work. You have an item, you're hefker. But yush, not necessarily you will work. There's some cases that yush doesn't work. So that is the kuta number one regarding yush, something that we'll see and we'll use in the sugis. The biggest said just to mention the Chazon Ish argues in the Sivas and the Ketzois. Chazon Ish learns that yush is hefker. The only difference between yush and hefker is that hefker is done b'das, willingly. I'm hefker. Yush is done forcefully. I don't want to give it up, but it's gone. What am I supposed to do? As if someone put a gun to my head and I agree to it. That's the kuta number one. The kuta number two, which will be part of the shur machshav of tonight of this daf, is the Maharal. The Maharal in Be'er HaGoyla points to something very, very interesting. He says, many questions. Maharal wrote a sefer called Be'er HaGoyla, or Be'er HaGula, depends how you pronounce it. And the main purpose of the sefer is to speak about things that people question Chazal. There are things people learn Chazal, and they said, that doesn't make sense. So either you speak about agatas of Chazal that seem to be funny, different members of Chazal that seem to be funny, and one of the things he speaks about is yush. He says, commonly in the world, and if you go around the world, you find an item in the street, and it's clear that the person was Messiash. He gave up hope. It's proper, right? It's very proper to give it back. Right? You're in America, a person finds some money, if somebody brings it back to him. So proper, so beautiful, it's the right way to do. So why are we talking about the Torah? Something the Torah says yush, gives it up. Like, so why in this case the Torah is talking about yush? It's more proper to give it back. So says the Maharal, you think that the Torah thinks like human beings, the Torah doesn't think like human beings. The Torah is all based in sichlis. It doesn't have to nothing to do with emotions, nothing to do with being proper. It has to do with be'etzim, what's the thing itself. Goes to the Maharal to say that money of an Adam is not really him. It's not like his body. As we mentioned Bava a few times. Money is an extension. But a person could connect it. But how does he connect it? He connects it through his Shem Vayel Olov, through his Das. If he has yush, so he removes himself from the item. There's no more shaykhs with the item and the other. The fact that it's proper, there's no proper anymore. There's no connection between that item and the other. It goes on with Ma'arichus Doyle to say how the Torah has a different approach to things, not the way that people go with feelings. And the way the thing is more humane. Okay. Says the Gemara. Lots of pairs with fuzarim, he finds scattered fruits. The kama, what is the definition of scattered fruits? That will be an avedo. He finds one kav scattered upon 4 amos. What's the case? If it fell, and it looks like it fell from a wagon or person, so then I feel too benami. Why dafka kav? If you see that fell 100 kav, it fell, scattered around. But if it was placed there, the person stored it in that area, even if it's less, but even if it's less amount in this size of area, you're not allowed to take it. It's the threshing floor. It's a place where people go and they gather. Everybody does piles of their own goyim. And what they do is, and then they go to pick it up. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of grunners over there, and he goes on and picks up whatever belongs to him. And therefore, what? So once he goes and picks it up, he takes out his load and he removes it and he takes his truck. So now the question, what's left? If there's one kav and 4 ames, that's a very big tircha to pick it up. He's not going to come back to pick it up. Meaning, he already picked up his main thing. There's some things left. If it's a small amount and a scanner in a big area, he's not going to pick it up. But, and what does he do? Of course, he's going to be mafkir. No, the yush brings the hefker. I'm discussing. The yush over here will bring the hefker. But if it's less than that, meaning it's less than our ba'amis, he'll come back and he'll pick it up. It won't be mafkir. So the Gemara says really it's a certain case, and it depends how much you have. That's how much a person will give it up or not.
According to this, it's not Yush. It's Mamish Hefke. It's not.
No, it's Yush. It means
No, it is because he's consciously saying, "I can't be bothered." So he's making.
So he says that it probably will never come back to me. That's the point. That they care. If somehow someone will pick it up for him, bring it to him, this guy who found it, he will be very happy to get it back. It's not mafka. That's what he's on.
It's not Yush. I'll give up and ever sin.
Giving up, I'm giving up hope that I'll ever see.
Consciously making a decision
To give it up. Again, it's again Yush. Okay, it's still giving it up. If I have a half a kav in 2 hours, we said 1 kav in 4 hours. What happens if I have a half a kav in 2 hours? Kav be'arba this time, because it's very difficult to pick it up. Chatzi kav b'shtei amas, kav the no v'shtecha, it's not so much work. It's only half a kav. Lo yimavku is not gimavkir. Or dilmo, what's the reason? It's not important to go and pick up a kav in 4 hours. Chatzi kav b'shtei amas is proportionally the same thing. Kivan do chashivi mavkilu. Again, using the notion of hefker as it's really pointed out. Kavayim b'shmoini amas lau. What happens if you have 2 kavs in 8 hours? Kav be'arba amas time, ma'im yishud no v'shechai. Kav be'arba amas is very hard to pick it up. Because it's very difficult. It's more work. Discuss what's so hard. It's the same proportion of difficulty. 1 kav in 4 hours, 2 kav in 8 hours. So the nice idea you have to go around and pick up more. It's more chashiv, it's not mafkir. Says the Gemara, now another question. Kav shum shemin, the kav of sesame. Kav ba'amas time, I would usually do kav in 4 hours, it's not important, but sesame is important, it's chashiv. So like mafkir is not getting mafkir. It's hard to pick it up. Sesame to pick it up. That's the hardest thing. Of course, can be mafkirit. Kav tamir ba'arba. What about a kav of dates? Or kav rimoini, kav of pomegranate? Ba'arba amas ba. Kav ba'amas time ma'im mishum lo chashivi zachoshu. Kav tamir amas kav rimoini amas. Nami lo chashivi mafkirit. It's also not important. It's a fruit that's very available. Because it's twice it's a lot of work. These big fruits, it's not hard to pick them up. What's the din? The din is teku. So what do we do in teku? All these cases, we're not sure it's an aved or not. So here you have a machlokes ushari, a big machlokes ushari. The Rosh learns that Nisafik, he doesn't know what to do. So Nisafik, you have to be machas. You have to, it's an Aveda. I don't know if it's Aveda or not. We still think you have to go and announce and be machas. How do we show him learn? The pshat is that Nisafik, you should not pick it up. But if you picked it up, you don't have to be machas. Just hold on to it. And the Rambam learns that Nisafik don't pick it up. You picked it up, it's yours. So how do we understand these opposite svaras? So one way that Chaim explains, Reuven goes on to explain it. So pshat is like this. The Rosh learns that this is called a Sveika de Yisur. It's a Yisur. I'm not allowed to steal. Or even a Yisur of Lo Sigzur. Or Lo Tuchal Yisrael. Depends which. It's a Yisur. The Yisur leads to money. But what I'm focusing on is the Yisur. Sveika de Yisur l'chum. The Rambam learns that the main thing here is Mammon. The Rambam says that the Chaim say goes l'shitasoi because he says the same thing about B'chor. They're learning B'chor here in the morning. When you have a Suffolk B'chor, the Rambam learns it's called a Suffolk Mammon. So even though there's Isurim, but you go based on the money to determine the Isurim. So here as well, you go based on money to determine the Isurim. So here it's Sveika already. Sveika money l'kuy. You picked it up, you keep it by you. So the Shita in the Rishayim, you have to understand the middle Shita, but that is here regarding the takeover. We don't know what to do with Aved. Something with Itvar. And now with base. Famous Sugya. Yush Shaloi Midas. Person has Yush without Das. Abaye Omar lo yavi yush. It's not yush. Rav Omar yavi yush. What does it mean? Yush lo midas? What the Rosh Rashi first Rashi? Lover shestoma yush lekeshiyeda shenofel mimenu. When you find out about it, it'll be yush. Because shemotza adai lo yudu abaye shenofel mimenu. Right now he doesn't know about it. But do you say the fact that I know the yush will come, that'll be good enough? Or in the end of the day, right now there's no yush. So is yush lo midas? Is it yush or it's not yush? Abaye says lo yavi yush, not yush, and Rava says they have yush. Now, already we have a discussion. Does the yush one way easy way that Chaim say is a yush an active or a passive motion the owner does. A bayil is active. You have to misyash. If there's no yush, so then it's not you're not taking it out. A Rava is no yush is not an active motion. Yush means that the fact that it's automatic to be melee, that there's a separation between the item and the owner. Yeah, because he's misyash there is, but it's not the act of yush. It's just the fact that you have this kind of works very well with the maral. Right. The idea is it doesn't. There's no shem b'ayamot. But what the Rishonim already discussed and bothered by is l'chura. This is mamish the machlekes of breiru. What is breiru? Eventually, you'll find out that the guy owns the guy is misyayish. So let's say the yush already starts right now. That's a chur what? That's a chur din of breiru. So Abai and Rava are arguing din of breiru. And this is a big discussion over here. Basically, it starts with the Rishonim going to the Achronim that they want to say that even if Rava holds that ein breiru, this goes back to the kudo that yush is not a din. It's not pshat that when I find out, then I'll go back and I'll figure out what's going to happen. But the pshat is that the yush, the yush is a davar shavimele because it means it's a state of connection between the item and the owner. Right.
So here you can say
it has to be complete something else. Very good.
No, but yes, to say with Breiru. So the question is later on when he finds out, it's not necessarily, but then he's going to figure out what he did.
Yeah, he was. For example, we'll see many examples. One example is he's going to go. It fell from his pocket.
The next day
he fell. Okay, leave it alone. So I'm giving up. Vai l'chesro kis, like the Gemara is going to say. Says the Gemara, "B'dover sheyesh b'simin, kulam lepligi delo yav yush." If there's a simin, there's no yush. The sheminim yash, even though eventually the owner was misyash, the soif in the end lo yav yush. Why the chiyasol did be surah dos ladi? When the guy found it, when the person found it in the street, it came into his hands b'isur. Right? Because then we're assuming that when he's going to find it, it won't be a yush when he figures it out. He says, I know I'll have a simon. So here we have the idea of what? We have the idea of davar sheba b'isur. If it starts b'isur, the yush doesn't work. And this is part of the idea of when we talk about yush. Because yush is it's not a half care. That goes very well with the sivas. If it's not a half care, so half care will work always. But here, when it starts being isur, it prevents you from the yush working because yush is not really a ma'aseh half care. Yush is this disengagement. Once there's an isur, the isur puts it back together. Says if the avedo
is kind of with that, so
yeah, but gneva is different. But gneva is only nafkamino legabi the fact if he ate it and he ruined it, so you go based on yush now. When do you charge it? But it's different thing. Yeah, for sure. That's what he's got to pay. No, but by guys don't have to pay. Always have to pay. By avedo you're gone. Here will be that will always be a big difference. Says the Gemara, "Bezuta shalyam." When you have an aveda, when it fell into zuta shal means Rashi says when the water there's the tide, the water went in, went back up. Nobody's finding this. Yeah, you have a similar thing with when the river spreads out. How about these besimin? Especially these things are mutter. Keep ligim adover shein besimin. There's no sin. There's no felt from him. Once he knows it felt for him, he's misyayish. I know there's no simon. So if you're using the lashon, it sounds like almost a mafreya. Retroactively, I find that it's misyayish. So more now is going to go through that we're going to have now for the next almost two blocks. We're going to talk about different rayas about yush shlomidas, yush shlomidas. So we'll start. We talk about scattered fruits. He doesn't know that the fruits fell. We talk about here the threshing floor, and as you mentioned before, maybe that's also Lashon Hefker. He knows about it. He left it over there purposely. He's not interested in picking it up. That's why that's how you Shlomidas. He knows exactly what he's doing. You have money which is scattered, it's his. Am I alert that he doesn't know that the money fell? Also, we learned soon, Rabbi Yitzchak says, a person always looks at his pocket, trying to see if he can count his money. A person always looks at his pocket, and he mail it what? He mail it he's going to know about it. He knew about it right away. When you have the figs sticking together, the kikosha knocked on the breads of the baker. Doesn't know it fell from him. Because they are heavy, so he does know them. Agav the Yakiri, because they're heavy, he knows. So yeah, it's something that he's carrying. He's going on the wagon. The horse is going fast. It's heavy, so he feels a light way. Right away, he realizes it fell out. You have these tongues that are colored in a purple color. It fell. I give the chashiv because it's so important. He always looks, checks them out, and he's going to know when it fell. What? No simon. All of them not. Because the machloek is only with no simon. He found money in shuls of his brothers. Whenever there's rabbim, give up. He doesn't know if it fell from him. Here's a bit saying, a person always looks at his pocket to find when it fell. We should already point out why Rabbi Yitzchak says it over here, not in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yitzchak said on this brisa, said the same thing applies to the Mishnah. Why do you say in the Mishnah? Okay. When a person is allowed to go into a field and take the leket, leket is one of the mandas salim. You have leket shicha apeh. So leket means when things fall during the harvest, whatever falls belongs to that neem. There's a certain time where the anim give up on it, and if you go in and you find the leket at that time, you can take it. The anim already also gave up on it. What is it? Once the nemushus go through the field, it's allowed. What is the nemushus? You have old people. Where? It could be. You mentioned the mush without saying the reason. Could be. Such a big kiss. When is called allowed to take a lekem shechuba and mushus? For a minute, mind the mushus. Who are the mushus? Old men that are walking on their cane, so they're very close to the ground, they're leaning on the ground and looking very carefully. What is that? You have poor people that go around the field, and then you have their son going after them, checking they didn't forget anything. One second. The anim over here know that these nemushas went by, they give up hope to take it up. But there's anim in other places they're not. So why are you saying everybody can take it? Elam, are you saying because eventually they'll find out. So there will be a yush. That's yush midas. Because there's poor people right now over here, the other anim already gave up hope a long time ago. In other words, the reason is like this. When you have a neem in this city, you have a neem in other cities, before the harvest starts, that neem in other cities says, forget about it, I'm not going to that city, I'm never going to find anything. There's enough poor people in that city to pick it up. So they give already hope before. Neem over here, they see when the nemushas go. So they want another raya. Toshva, ktzios, baderech. You have ktzios in the way. Ktzios means dried figs. Ta'afilu b'tzad, so the ktzios are next to a field of ktzios. You find in the way. You have a tree, a fig tree, which is leaning into the way. And you find figs underneath it. Mutaras, mishugazu, you're allowed to take it. Upturas with a meiser. Is there hefker? They put them in a meiser. Says to a charuvim also, but if it's olives or carrots, then it's also. It says it go like this. Bishwa Rachel Abai Lokasho. Abai that says Yush Lomidas, Loy Aviyush. He is saying here it's okay. Agav the chashivim imashribu. Because very chashuv, the people go ahead and look, they check out the ktsirs. So they're always looking for it. So it's not usual midas. Te'enami made the idea the natural. You also know by a fig when it falls, he knows when it falls. And the sefer the Rava Kasha. How is Rava going to explain the sefer? The sefer says the Zaysim and I know. So according to Abai, he says Zaysim and Novi doesn't know. Not so chashuv. So it's usual midas. Te'enami knows. But according to Rava, the usual midas have a yush. When you're saying that Zaysim and Novi also, why is it also? It's according to yush. It's for sure be a yush. Says the Gemara, so how are you going to explain according to Rava? In Aleph, it has a certain shape that belongs to a certain tree. When it falls, you're still able to recognize where it came from. The natural even when it falls, people know the place of the person belongs to the person, meaning they know where it belongs to. So it's still recognizable that belongs to this owner. So therefore what? Therefore, by the Aleph, he's not Misayish. You know, it fell from the tree. Everybody's going to know which tree it fell from to give it back to me. Says the Gemara, it's also by a date. By a fig. Why do you think by a fig is not recognized? Once it falls from the tree, it gets it crashes, it screens. You can't really recognize it. It becomes he doesn't have any more the surah of the fruit. You can't anymore recognize where it came from, and therefore that's not going to be. It's something is misyash. So by teino, so Rava usually that's a yush. Once he finds that's a yush, even if he didn't know it fell, usually that's a yush. Masheika but teino will never have a yush because there's a step on it. Abayot pshat is that by teino he knows when it falls, and the other ones he doesn't know, and usually does to have a yush. So he wants to stay with that. In this case, we'll stop over here. Continue based on the sugya tomorrow at the same time.